And we're back. Welcome everybody to the live stream of the Mike Seibert Radio podcast powered by Poddex. I am your host. So glad to be back here with you again, this time on a Sunday afternoon. We got a ton of stuff to talk about related to Icon Online and some really cool guest announcements to make. But before we get there and introduce our awesome guests, I just want to remind everybody that this is a group listener participation live stream. So if you have questions, comments, concerns as we go, please don't be shy. Chime in the chat wherever you're watching, whether it be on Facebook or on Twitch or on YouTube or on Twitter. We'll be monitoring the chat as we go, and who knows, we might address your question, comment, and concern. Actually, no, we will address your question, comment, and concern as we go. So, all right, well, let's kick things off because we've got a new panel of exciting guests joining us for this second round of Icon Online reveals and chats and talk throughs. First of all, returning to us, but with a slightly different look than on the previous live stream that we did. Spark Splitter joins us again. How you doing, Sparks?
Once again, pretty toasty.
Yeah, I'll try not to keep you under the mask as long. We ended up going a little long yesterday. We had some we had some issues with screen sharing and chat got a little lively. We had a lot of fun yesterday, but yeah, I don't want to prevent the fooding as much as we did yesterday. I think that's kind of why we're starting a little earlier here, also kind of on the Sunday matinee. But so you're toasty there. But yesterday on the previous live stream, you were rocking Swindle. Now you look a little different today. Tell folks about what who you got today.
Well, I'm sure most of them know, but I've got IDW Rodimus today, and he was my second helmet, so he's a little older now compared to Swindle, but still looking good.
Very cool. Well, I'll come back to that in a sec because I'd like to ask you a little more about kind of like the evolution of your various cosplays, because as I understand it, this is one of your older ones, and you've since grown and developed in your cosplay craft. So I definitely want to come back to that. But hanging out in the other top square. I know you guys are much better at this than I am, because I keep like, oh, I did it right that time. I was doing a lot of this in the previous stream. It's like, Mike, there's nobody there. You got to get your
what
direction.
you remember, it's in reverse. It's easier.
That's smart. Well, and I think it's mirrored too, because it's like, you know, like my Seahawks jersey, my number 12 is mirrored. So when I'm looking at it in my, nobody cares about any of this. Apollo, how you doing?
I'm doing well. As you see, I have a new setup. So,
yeah.
This is very exciting. I got a new computer, got a Mac Mini that'll be one of the computers streaming the Icon Online event, and I'm very excited. It's been working really well so far, so I'm really excited about having it and to be here on your show once again.
Yeah, and you know, we've made a semi-regular occurrence of this getting together to talk about Icon Online, and it's so exciting that we're just over a month away from the big event. And, you know, just want to remind folks that Icon Online, that brand new fan run, not-for-profit Transformers virtual convention is coming up January 30th and 31st. Kind of a really good way to kick off your 2021, because I would imagine once we kind of get that deep into January, we might have a feeling what kind of year we're going to have in terms of like how things are turning around. But so we wanted to get together this afternoon because we didn't want to cram too much into our jam-packed live stream from yesterday, from Saturday, where we concentrated on focus on the cosplay contest, and then of course the reveal of our brand new team member, VIP, who has become quite the social media superstar, I have to say. In fact, actually, let me while we're just chatting here for a few, let me bring my screen back up, and let's that's not that one. I was having trouble with this yesterday too, and it's like I need to figure out where to point my screen sharing to before I actually share the screen. This is a whole lot of internal stuff that nobody cares about, but yeah, let me hit the button here, and there they are, and there they are. Very cool. So yeah, so there's VIP as rendered by our fellow Iacon online compatriot, Frag Raptor. I think they did an amazing job, and also want to give a shout out to Andy O as well for his contributions to the early design there as well. In fact, I'm just going to leave V up there for a few. It kind of evens things out more with the power of 4. But I also want to shout out Chally is hanging out with us in the chat. Looks like on her YouTube channel, Chally's Animated Live, which incidentally there's a trailer for her Christmas video. I've watched it a couple times. It's adorable. You should check it out. Chally's Animated Life out on YouTube. But one of the things that Chally mentioned here is we've got so many more cosplay entries after last night's podcast, so that really kind of struck fire. So I think let's just kind of start with that. We've extended some of the deadlines. One of them is for the cosplay contest submission, and I don't know why I'm talking cosplay when I've got a certifiable cosplayer right here. Sparks, do you want to talk about the extensions to the cosplay convention? And I don't know, I guess no, I guess that I was going to say, and things that have changed since yesterday, but nothing has changed other than we've gotten like a bunch more submissions. So I was just wondering if we could touch on cosplay for a couple minutes.
Absolutely. So both the cosplay and panel submissions are extended till January 3rd, just to give you guys some more time with all the holidays that have both popped up and are coming. So please, you've got till January 3rd to submit any new panel ideas or your cosplay. We really want to see what you got.
And then from that, like, again, I think, what was it, like 4 or 5 more submissions came in since we did the podcast yesterday. So if this stream that we're doing now gives folks even more motivation to jump on, then please do, because
Just do it.
Exactly. You gotta be Shia LaBeouf and just do it, and make your dreams come true, and put that out there. So since we are kind of talking about cosplay for just a couple minutes there, Sparks, I had threatened to come back to you and say, maybe talk a little bit about the development of your IDW Rodimus helm and how maybe that compares with some of the more contemporary current stuff you've been doing, like Swindle and maybe some of the other stuff. In fact, I'm going to let you have the floor while I go dig up an image from what we were talking about with some samples of your work.
Oh boy.
I know, right?
I'm afraid of what you're going to dig up.
Oh, it's just what we shared on. Well, we had a poll on the Iacon Online Twitter feed, and there were a couple honorable mentions that I wanted to bring up. But while I'm doing that, yeah, kind of talk about again, kind of how you kind of put together your Rodimus, and then how lessons you've learned from that and how that's influenced your more current stuff.
Well, Rodimus in general was kind of a big pain in the butt. But that being said, I've always been happy with how he came out. He is 5 years old. I had to count.
Oh my gosh.
5 years old. And he's still in really nice condition. I gave him the most minor paint touch-up. Somehow he had chipped a little piece of yellow off. But for a 5-year-old helmet, he's held up really nice. And we will be presenting a cosplay panel, not the judging panel, an actual cosplay panel, talking about the basic stuff like materials, safety, and if you have any questions you'd like specifically covered for that panel, you can go ahead and just message the Iacon Online page or send us an email. It doesn't matter. And we'll try and cover those questions for you.
Wonderful. So while we were chatting here, I found that image I was threatening to earlier. So you have Swindle, who we saw yesterday on Saturday's stream. We have IDW Rodimus, who we're enjoying with now, but there's a couple other friendos in the middle there. So you've got Blur, but then you've got a very furry themed Rodimus that I'm disappointed didn't win the poll that we put up there. It was IDW Rodimus in a landslide, but I voted for Rodimus because that looks intricate, and that looks that looks like that's got a lot that goes into making that. So I was just wondering if you could if you have any stories behind these other two faces of Blur and the furry Rodimus.
Absolutely. So technically the first helmet I made was Rewind.
Okay.
Rodimus was the second here. And from Rodimus was Swindle. It's not noticeable in the picture, but he has very nice follow me 3D eyes. So no matter where you go, he's staring at you with that grin. And Blur was made...
I'll be darned.
Blur was made maybe a year or two after Swindle. I can't remember now. But my cosplay friend, Frag Raptor, I wanted them to do Blur because anybody who knows us in person, I am very short and they are very tall. So like Blur and Swindle, one is very short and one is very tall. And I think Blur premiered at 2017 TFCon Canada, if I remember right. And the fursuit head you see there in the middle was actually just a quarantine project for this year. He does have an entire full body suit and everything for him. Anybody who reads my Twitter bio, I am active in the furry community as well, and I've been making fursuits for years on top of other cosplay.
So we talked a lot yesterday in the Saturday stream about the Transformers cosplay community. I'm mildly curious, what's the difference between, say, the Transformers cosplay community and the furry community? I would imagine that there's a lot of similarities, but also some differences.
Boy, that's a long question.
Oh, really?
I don't think I can cover the furry community in just
Okay.
a couple minutes, but there are some overlaps cosplay-wise, like the Follow Me Eye effect I learned from doing fursuits. It's a classic furry building trick, which was put into Swindle. If you ask me, building the fursuits is easier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. How come?
Well, first of all, you get to cover them in a layer of fur, so not every little nitpick. Like a robot, you have seams and things you got to match up perfectly, or else it's noticeable.
Uh-huh.
With a fursuit, with the fur will hide slight imperfections, and if you actually pick your seams, which is the technique of pulling any fur that is stuck in a seam out on the correct side, and then brush them, you can have invisible seams. So fur is just much more forgiving.
Interesting. So I would imagine that folks that do cosplays of Beast Wars characters could probably benefit from some of those techniques and
Absolutely. I've got Cheetor on my list for a while now, but
that's awesome. And again, that's why I have my friends on the show, so that I can learn a thing or two about a thing or two. Also, I want to say hey to Shannon, who is joining us here in the chat, also on YouTube. And yeah, that's really cool stuff, Sparks. I appreciate the shallow deep dive into, I guess that's the way I should have phrased it, is the overlaps.
listen, if you want to talk furries, that would have to be a whole nother video, but they are really amazing, creative people.
Very cool. Yeah. You know what? We might have to mark that on our calendars and actually do that as like a whole nother show. Because that's a community that you hear referred to, but it's, I mean, for somebody like me, it's not necessarily as right on the mainstream. And I would also imagine it probably suffers from some unfortunate stereotypes and misconceptions that we've seen presentations of in media, but we can unpack that a different day. I do think that that's a very fascinating topic, though. But let's get back to Icon Online, because that's kind of the reason for the season and why we're here. So the submissions for the cosplay contest have been extended out through January 3rd, as well as the panel submissions. That deadline has been pushed to January 3rd as well. And it's I heard somebody being snarky on Twitter, saying like, "Oh, well, you're going to extend it because you don't have no panels." No, it's the opposite problem. We have tons of panel submissions, and we need a little more time to go through them and curate them, and in some cases coach up some folks to kind of get their panel idea from an idea into like a fully realized project. So that's part of the reason why we want to make sure and extend the deadline, so we can have as much representation there as possible. Artist Alley, on the other hand, Apollo, it's my understanding that today, which is the 20th of December, as we're here on a Sunday live stream, this is it for Artist Alley, right?
Yeah, we're closing Artist Alley submissions. We've exceeded the number that we got, so we actually have to go through them and review them and select who we're going to have in Artist Alley. So those are closing this weekend. So if you haven't applied, apply.
Exactly. So the live stream now, folks might be listening to this on a podcast that'll be out later in the week, just before Christmas. But if you're listening to it on the podcast, it's already too late. I apologize for your FOMO, but and that's part of the reason why we're doing this as a live, to kind of get to folks and reach out immediately, because I know that I've been in contact with some friends of mine that are artists, and I was like, hey man, poke, you gonna apply? And some of them have, some of them have not. So it's it's last call for alcohol. If you would like to be a part of our virtual artist alley for Iacon Online, go to our website, iacononline.wordpress.com. There are submission forms for the cosplay like we talked about, but also for Artist Alley and panel submissions as well. I got a note here from Chally. Hey, Mike, when you get the chance, could you give one last shout out to the zine? It's shutting down for pre-orders in 6 hours. TF Lifeline's Medic Zine out on Twitter. Oh, cool. Well, that's great, because I thought they had closed last night after we did our live stream. So yeah, that's let me make sure I got it up here. The Twitter handle is at TF Medic Zine. That is the TF Lifeline's Medic Zine. Pre-orders do close at the end of today, the 20th of December. It's a charity zine benefiting the Salk Institute for Biological Studies, going directly to COVID research. We know there are vaccines out and on the way, but that doesn't mean that the fight is over. So if you'd like the opportunity to get a really cool zine and participate in a charity project, that is the TF Lifeline's Medic Zine, at TF Medic Zine out on Twitter. And that will have a link to the website with several different tiers of where you can get the zine and participate, including getting a digital only version of the zine for as little as $12. And then there's tiers that go up further than there. So yeah, just make sure and get that. I got my pre-order in just in time, so that's one I'm really looking forward to. And I haven't really partaken of a lot of zines, so it's something that's kind of new for me, as I'm kind of dipping my toe kind of into that kind of the uncharted waters of the larger Transformers fandom. So I am excited to check that out. What was I talking about? Oh, we were talking about Artist Alley and panel submissions and cosplay. Apollo, I was wondering if you could touch on, or I guess more or less echoing what I was just saying about Artist Alley and panels, if you had any particular words of wisdom and or encouragement for folks that are thinking about applying, but perhaps have not yet, as we're doing last call for alcohol for Artist Alley, but then extending out the deadline for submissions until January 3rd for panels and cosplay.
Well, just as we reiterated over the last few months about Iacon Online, this is a fan-run and fan-focused event. We want as many fans as possible to get a chance to have their voice heard and participate in a Transformers themed convention. So if you are a little bit on the shyer side, we're a very friendly group of people planning this event, and we're also a very diverse group of people planning this event with lots of representation. So we are more than happy to talk with you through email, through Discord, or whatnot, to help you along the way with encouraging you, bouncing ideas off of each other, because we want this to be as successful as possible. As I said, Artists Alley is closing this weekend, but if you are still an artist and you want to have representation at this event, you can always host a panel and do a how to draw robots panel or something like that, because robots are very hard to draw. I'm an artist myself, and the struggle is real. And it would be a great way not only to show off your skills and teach new skills to people that are interested in that, whether they're other artists or just people who love process. Like I personally love watching process videos from start to finish for anything. So it's also a way to advertise your work, because with any panels that we're doing with Artist Alley as well, and also cosplays, you're going to be getting online advertisement through our social media platforms. And it's a great way to get visibility for you and your work. This year has been very hard on everyone because all the in-person conventions have been canceled pretty much because of the pandemic. And I know a lot of artists who need the funds that they make from conventions to get by. And so we want to do what we can to help and give back to the community, the Transformers community. So please apply. We want your applications. We want your submissions. And we're very excited already from the submissions we've received. Like, we're going to have such a variety of panels and artists. It is super, super exciting. So let's keep the momentum up and keep on applying. We did extend, as you said, Mike, we did extend, and Sparks, we did extend the panel submissions and the cosplay submissions. And it's because we're getting so many amazing ones. Always at the last minute, people tend to put things off until the last minute to apply. We want to give folks a chance who maybe have been focused on the holidays an opportunity to apply as well, because we've been planning this event since, I believe, the end of August now.
I think so.
It's been through the whole holiday season. We've had Halloween, we've had Thanksgiving, and then we've had all the holidays that are in December. And so, I don't think people's minds may necessarily be focused on fan conventions, because there's not too many fan conventions that happen this time of year normally. In general. So we want to give people an opportunity who might just be discovering about Iacon online a chance to apply, because we are a new event. This is our first time doing it, and we're still trying to get the word out to people about our event and who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it. So please apply. We are getting so many awesome panels. You don't want to miss being a part of it. So apply.
Absolutely. And again, reminder, folks can go to the website, iacononline.wordpress.com, or they can follow Iacon Online on pretty much every social media you can think of, including Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and Instagram. All of those handles at Iacon Online, spelled exactly how it sounds. And yeah, we're incredibly excited to host this event, to curate this event. And I think I've said this a number of times before, but what speaks to me personally about this event is that it's an opportunity to give voice to folks that have been kind of underrepresented or straight up shut out of some of the larger fan conventions. And we're all fans. We all go to some of the same conventions. And I think, like, and Apollo, this is your brainchild. This is your baby. But I think it kind of came from, hey, let's kind of give voice to folks that didn't, and kind of fill in those cracks, and kind of do that representation in a way that that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, well, as I said on your previous shows, I kind of just floated this idea out on Twitter back in August, I believe. I just was
Mm-hmm.
really disappointed with this year. This year's been a letdown for everyone. And it seems like everyone I know, myself included, have had a lot of bad things happen on top of the pandemic. And um, Transformers is my main fandom, and I was really bummed that all these conventions that I planned on going to is going to be my first time in Artist Alley at TFCon was
Right.
canceled. And it's the one opportunity I get to see my friends in this fandom in person, maybe once or twice a year. So I just put the idea out there for this event, but I've got to give a huge shout out to the planning team, because even though this was my idea, I feel like this has like turned into all of our baby, like everyone who's been involved
Yeah.
over the last few months. And we've got just such an amazing team. I did a shout out on Twitter earlier today to everyone who's been involved. And I really think the people that have been involved in planning this event are very thoughtful and considerate of all the different Transformer fans, because we do have a diverse fandom. We've got all sorts of people from different walks of life and backgrounds, and
Mm-hmm.
we want to make sure that this event has representation. And as we've said repeatedly, and you've said repeatedly, voices that haven't been heard before. I mean, we've got, between the fan panels that we're getting and the artists and the cosplay, and also the special guest panels we're getting, we're going to have such a variety of representation that is very, very exciting. And we can't share everything tonight. We're going to
No.
be spacing stuff out throughout the next few weeks to keep the momentum going and the excitement going. But it's just been really amazing being a part of this project and to see it actually take flight and turn into what it's turned into. I did not think it was going to get as big as it did. I thought it was just going to be some artists submitting stuff for Artist Alley, and it has grown beyond my wildest dreams, which is awesome. And as we've said before, this is a fan event. It is a nonprofit event, so we are not making any money on this. Like, we're not charging tickets. This is all 100% volunteer. We're putting actually our own money into this event in the form of
Mm-hmm.
prizes, tech equipment, and other stuff. So this is really coming from our heart. Quite honestly, like, we're doing this because we love Transformers and we cherish the friendships that we've made through this fandom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent stuff. So in my excitement to talk about cosplays and panels and Artist Alley submissions and teases for some of the guest reveals that we're going to reveal in just my roadmap of where we were going to go. I feel like there was something else we were going to cover in between all of that and the actual reveals. Am I remembering that correctly, or do I just have the brain fog?
I can't think of anything other than we've got a lot of exciting stuff planned.
Okay.
We're gonna have some contests coming up soon, so you've got to follow the social media accounts to get a chance to enter. And we do have a lot of special guests we want to announce, which we were going to do tonight, starting with a few. But I do want to also point out that we do have a variety of guests that we're going to be announcing. We've got representation from, I would say, a wide variety of groups of different types of people. So it might seem a little one-sided tonight, but we do have lots of guests that we're going to be announcing over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and with that, because we're about to announce some guests. That's not the totality of the thing. I mean, in fact, I was even going to start talking about what parts of the world of the Transformers they come from, but I'm like, no, I can't do that because that's probably a spoiler. But yeah, we have several folks, some of which are under NDAs and other types of logistical complications to where it's like, it's got to bake just a little longer before we do like the official rollout. But yeah, we do our a lot of our planning on Discord. We're all on a Discord server together, and like there's been more than a couple times. Me personally, now I'm 102 years old, so I got that early onset anyway. But like there's been more than a few times I was like, whoa, wait a second. We should probably like make like a spreadsheet or something because it's just too much good stuff. I can't keep track of it with all my boomer energy. So.
Yep, and I've already made a spreadsheet. And if you haven't seen it, Mike, I think I debuted it at our last meeting, but I did some reorganizing on it. So we've got like different sections now because we just got an influx of special guests, and these are folks that actually have contributed officially to the Transformers, franchise in regards to the shows, comics, movies, and more. So it is very, 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 very exciting. Like yesterday, the Discord was blowing up in a good way, and we are just so excited. So wish we could share everyone tonight, but we're only going to do a few, and we will be sharing throughout the next few weeks. So just follow the social media accounts. So
all right.
With that, Mike, if you're ready, we can start with our first special guest.
I think I am ready. I think I have my thing open, and let me make sure that I can share my screen correctly. See, you can tell we're a bunch of like independent folks because like we're I'm making this up as we go, and I just like learning as we go. So okay, so I am gonna hit this button. Hopefully it works, and we will see our first guest reveal. Oh, it worked!
Yay! Awesome, good job, Mike. So
thank you.
Our first guest is David Marriott, and he is a writer and editor at IDW Publishing, and he operates out of his hometown of San Diego, California. He spends tireless hours making good comics, including Transformers versus the Terminator, Hanazuki, Transformers, Sonic the Hedgehog, Kanto, Scarent Hood, and many more. He lives with his significant other, an old dog, a young cat, and too many Transformers.
Aww.
Yeah, so this is super exciting because I love the IDW comics, and I really like these crossover comics they've been doing recently with like the Terminator and Back to the Future and My Little Pony and Star Trek. I mean, it's been really amazing seeing the evolution of the IDW comics under David's leadership. So this is just really exciting to have him as a guest at our event.
The thing that David has a really good Twitter game, and the thing that I appreciate about him is that he's not shy about shouting out the incredible artists that he's working with. And one of my favorite things about the new era of IDW comics, also known as IDW2, is that there are so many new artists that are getting their opportunity to work on the book, and sometimes it's in the form of these crossovers, other times it's doing fill-ins on the mainline title, a lot of covers. Like I think all of us know more than a couple artists personally that can now say it's like I've done work on the official Transformers comics. So that's so it's just a really cool opportunity, and a lot of that comes from David Marriotte's vibe that he brings to the Transformers books over there at IDW. Charlie just sent me a reminder in chat. We will be releasing a form that you can submit questions to David Marriotte. So if you have Transformers questions, IDW 2 questions, I'd throw in some Sonic questions as well. He when I was doing a little bit of Google sleuthing to learn more about David Marriott, he's somewhat of an icon in Sonic fandom, in Sonic the Hedgehog fandom. So yeah, I mean, we can. It's a Transformers convention, but I'm sure he would appreciate a Sonic question as well. So that's David Marriott. That is our first guest announcement, our guest spotlight here for Icon Online. So I'm going to pull that down. I don't need to talk as much out loud as I hit buttons, but I don't know about you, but like I do that all the time. Like it's like, now I'm doing this. It's like I do this narration as I'm doing stuff, but that's just me because I'm a weirdo.
I do that too. I've got a dog and I do that with him. I'm like, okay, we're going to get our harness on. And
oh, that's sweet. I love it. So that said, are we ready for our next guest reveal?
Yes, we are ready, Mike.
All right. I'm going to hit the button. It's going to happen.
All right. So our next guest is Flint Dille, and you've probably heard of this guy before. He was put in the Transformers Official Hall of Fame in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
He is a writer for his book called The Game Master, Almost Famous in the Geek 80s. He's a writer, story editor, and producer for the G1 Transformers series. He was a writer for the Transformers, the movie, the 86 movie, which is one of my favorite movies. And I know, Mike, your favorite movie of all time.
Literally, yes.
He's also been a writer for IDW's acclaimed Autocracy trilogy, and also a writer of Transformers, the movie video game. Apart from Flint's monumental influences with the Transformers franchise, he has constantly been at work writing great projects, including American Tail 2, Dungeons and Dragons, Inhumanoids, G.I. Joe, Uncharted, Diablo 3, Buck Rogers, and much, much more.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another guest that we have officially for Icon Online. I am super excited to have Flint Dille be a part of the event. His panels are still in the works that are being planned. That they are really, really exciting. But we can officially announce that he's going to be a part of the event.
Excellent. I to say that Flint Dille is the author of my childhood would be an understatement with like his work with Transformers, specifically Transformers the movie, but then also all of his G.I. Joe stuff. But a lot of so it's the cool thing about Transformers is, as a fandom, there are so many different entry points, and we know that Transformers fans come in all kinds of different age groups, to the point where there are folks that that are into more contemporary incarnations that don't even know who this guy is. And that's totally rad, because everybody has their own entry point. But what I would say to that is there are folks that are what am I trying to say? When Flint Dille hasn't been working on Transformers, his more primary background in like the last, say, 25 years has been in video games. So while you might not recognize his name, I bet you've played a lot of video games that have his stamp and his and has his writing credit on it. And this is apropos of nothing, but I think like in the video game scene, there isn't enough credit given to the creative folks involved. I mean, look at books and TV shows and movies. I think it would be cool if we kind of gave that same level of credit to video game writers and creators as well. But that's just me on my old man Mike soapbox. But yeah, Flint is an incredible dude. I've had him on my show a few times to talk about his book, The Games Master, Almost Famous in the Geek 80s. That's still available, by the way. You can get an autographed copy from the publisher Rare Bird Books, or you can get it on Amazon as well as on Audible. It is a really fun read, and it's more or less the story of a guy that was almost and next to folks that were folks in the 80s. And yeah, I appreciate his wit and sense of humor. I'm a big fan, and I'm hoping through his contributions here at Iacon Online, you become fans as well, if you might not be familiar with him. So that is Flint Dille.
Yeah, and also with all of our guests, we're going to be asking for questions ahead of time through our social media channels. So if you've got questions for Flint, please follow our social media channels and fill out the form for submitting your question. That way, our guests can look at the questions ahead of time and make sure it's something that they can answer. Because as you said earlier, Mike, a lot of our folks are under NDAs and they might not be able to answer your question.
Exactly. Well, and what I've discovered is that you can usually get some pretty good answers for questions that you submit ahead of time. Give them a chance to think about it and cook on it. And breaking news from Chally, yes, they will be posted soon. Will those question submission forms, where will those be posted? Are we putting them on the Iacon Online website? Will they be distributed through social media? If I know that, I apologize that I don't remember off the top of my head. Not that I'm trying to put any of us on blast or on the spot, but I think as folks are interested, we should probably let folks know where to find that. So we'll definitely release that information as we have it. But yeah, look for those question submission forms, and yeah, throw some questions at our spotlight guests. But I looking at the clock, it looks like we have a little bit of show left, and I think we have one more reveal.
We do, Mike. You're right about that. We've got one more reveal, so we're ready whenever you are.
Excellent. All right. Well, let me share my screen again. And this one needs a drum roll. I gotta do the drum roll. And I'm gonna drum roll as I hit the button. Our final guest is
Gregg Berger. So Gregg Berger, he was added to the Transformers Official Hall of Fame in 2020. You probably know him as the voice of Grimlock from the G1 cartoon and movie. He also did Skyfire, Long Haul, and Outback from the original Transformers. He was a voice actor for Power of the Prime's Grimlock. He was for the game Transformers Devastation. He did Grimlock and Long Haul's voice. He also did the voice of Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. For Rise of the Dark Spot, he did Grimlock and Lockdown. And for Robots in Disguise, he did Stockade. In addition to a very successful career as Grimlock through several iterations of Transformers, Gregg has voiced many, many other well-known characters, including Odie from Garfield, the Grumble from Real Monsters, Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, and many, many more. So we are very excited to have Gregg on as a part of Iacon Online's special guests. And we will also be gathering questions for him as well. Those questions, the forms for the questions should be on social media. I know we're going to be updating the website tomorrow with our special guest announcements as well. And I imagine that the form links will live there as well.
Very cool. Very, very exciting. So those are the official guests that we can announce today. There are many many more to come, as well as panel reveals and other updates as well. So you got to make sure and turn on your notifications for at Iacon Online. Follow us on all of them social medias, including the Twitters and the Tumblrs and the Facebooks and the Instagrams. Follow us at Iacon Online and check out the website, iacononline.wordpress.com. There you will find a pretty robust frequently asked questions section that we've been curating as we go, as folks have had really great insightful questions. There's also applications there for the artist alley, and again, more or less pretty much once this stream ends, that's your sand is running out in terms of times to apply for Artist Alley. That Artist Alley does close at the end of today on December 20th, as we're recording on a Sunday afternoon evening. Also on the website, you will find panel applications. If you have a thing about Transformers fandom that you are passionate and that you can share and talk about, this would be a great opportunity for you to show off your stuffs. And then finally, the cosplay contest, which we've extended the deadline to January 3rd for those latter two, the cosplay contest and panel submissions, just to make sure that we have, a fully robust submission of representation there that we're incredibly excited about. Man, I tell you, this time went by really quick, and we had a lot of fun. Yeah, I guess before I guess I'll ring the bell and go last call. If you have any questions, comments, concerns for us in the chat, and you're waiting until the last minute, this is it. This is literally the last minute. So as we get ready to close out, we'll again hit us up, and we'll see if we can answer those in chat. If you're shy and don't want to chat, hit us up on those social channels at Iacon Online. DMs are open, and we will address your questions, comments, concerns as best as we can throughout our time here. So I guess with that, as we close out, let's just kind of go around the room and let folks know where we can find you on the internet and how we can connect with yous on the social medias, and maybe talk about your arts a little bit in case you haven't yet. So let's Apollo, let's start with you. Remind folks where they can connect with you and get them commissions and hookups to your shops and your merch and all that other cool stuff.
Alrighty. Well, I'm primarily on Twitter and Instagram, and it's at RoboApollo, spelt how it sounds. And that's where you can find information on my commissions, the merch I have for sale, and also my Ko-fi page. I made a lot of merch for TFCon and it got canceled, so I've got plenty of stuff left. One of the things that I did make that I am low on stock is a coloring book that was inspired by female Transformers. So if you want one of those, there was only one run of this book, and it is low in stock. So just if you want to order anything, just place your order on my website. So and I've got 5 commission slots open, so please feel free to DM me and we can work out the details for what you want as a commission.
Very cool. And how can we connect with you on the social medias? Did you mention that?
Yeah, you can DM me at RoboApollo on both Twitter and Instagram. I am on Facebook too, but I go by my real name on there. So if you know me, you're connected with me on there already. So.
Fair enough. Well, and that's the thing too. I've discovered, and it's not just Transformers fan creators. I find this with podcasters also. Like I do Transformers Reanimated with Greg and Yoshi, and I had them on my show one time, and I'm like, okay, yeah, so I have Yusuf, aka Yoshi, and I have Greg, aka Captain Boomerang, and I am Mike Seibert, aka Mike Seibert. So it's like when we were handing out cool names, I must have been on a different floor in a different room or something, because I never got myself a cool fandom name, but maybe I'll work on that one of these days. I guess my name is cool enough already. No association with that website, by the way. I'm getting way off track. We're out of control here.
Yep.
Sparks, tell us about how we can find some of your works on the internet and how we can connect with you on the social medias.
I am Spark Splitter on pretty much everywhere. And if the icon is a black and blue seeker or a black and blue lion, you know it's me.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, if there isn't anything else, I think we will close out here and get on with our bad selves. This has been a ton of fun. I also want to remind folks, just as you know, as I'm self promoting myself, coming up next week on the 28th, on Monday the 28th, I will be having a conversation with my good buddy Dave Sanders. He'll be returning to the show, and we're gonna finally talk some TV. Finally, enough TV shows came back to where we can kind of talk about the winter season that was, and then going into the next winter season when shows come back in March. It's been like almost a year since we've done a Right and Proper TV episode. So Dave and I are recording that on Monday the 28th, and then coming up on Sunday, January 10th, it will be my interview with Stan Bush, the one and only, Dare and The Touch and Born to Fight and all that. We're going to talk about his brand new album, Dare to Dream, which I've been listening to on and off for the last several days. And it's pretty cool. I was like, I mean, it gives you all of those Transformers the movie nostalgia feels. It's got a lot of that texture to it, and I really dug it. So I'm really excited to chat with him, and that will be a live stream as well. We are starting at 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Again, that is January 10th. Mike Seibert Radio one-on-one with Stan Bush. That's going to be a lot of fun, and then, yeah, outside of that will wrap it up for this episode. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. And if you want to listen to my podcast, Mike Seibert Radio, and all of my other past shows, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can check out the full show archive out on SoundCloud. 5 years worth of shows out there going all the way back to the KGRG era. And tune in to the After Hours live stream Monday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific time, streaming on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. Like, share, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you'd like and what you'd like to hear more of in the future. Mike Seibert Radio is powered by Poddex. For Mike Seibert Radio, my name is Mike, and since this is my last show before the Christmas holiday, I want to extend to everybody there a very happy Christmas and a merry and a happy holidays, and all of that other stuff. If either Apollo or Sparks, if you have a holiday greeting you would like to close out with, you're welcome to do so at this time, and I'll shut up for a sec.
Well, once again, I'm Apollo, and have a wonderful holiday season, and stay safe out there, and looking forward to seeing your panel submissions and cosplay submissions for Iacon Online.
I'm just going to say a nice happy holidays to everyone.
Perfect. And Charlie says, be safe out there, socially distance, and until next time, wear a mask, wash your hands, and make good choices. Good night.